Welcome back to the league that means nothing on Go Again Gaming.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you may be. Welcome back to The League That Means Nothing, round 2, here with Kiki and Elaine.
Hi, hello.
Today we have a very exciting matchup, neither of which either of us are familiar with to an extent, so we're going to be exploring this along with y'all. We have Raphael on Vynsett, and we have Mauricio, I hope I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. On Arachne Slipped Through the Cracks. So, Elaine, how do we feel about this matchup? Not knowing very much about it. Do you have any initial kind of thoughts about this, or?
No, not really. I don't play either of these heroes, and I really don't know anything about this matchup, if I'm being completely honest. Um, yeah, I mean, I know, like, Vynsett is, I always kind of underestimate how powerful Vynsett can be, but I think that Arachne can also present a lot of damage.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Vynsett might find her place in a set of blocking because although I don't know much about her play her, like I think like she might require some setup, but
Yeah.
yeah,
She for sure.
I don't know.
For sure, she requires some setup. Obviously, her main kind of strategy is to get the rune chance out to play the attacks from Banish, which she is forced to do at the start of each turn. Banish a card from hand. So that's going to be kind of difficult when this Arachne is coming in and attacking you with a whole bunch of disruption really quickly. But what she does start attacking, she does a lot of damage. And thanks to the new kind of rune chant producers in Rosetta, yeah, it's become a lot easier for her to produce these rune chants. Yeah, with that being said, I guess we don't have many more thoughts about it. Should we just get into the game?
Yeah, let's dive into it. I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, of course. Also, check out the sponsors, whoever it is. I'm not sure who the sponsor for this game is, but check them out regardless.
Today's game for the League That Means Nothing is brought to you by local game shop Void Games out of Crewe in Cheshire, United Kingdom. Focusing on trading card games, of course, Flesh and Blood being the favourite, and of course a lot of organised play there going down for all of your favourite games, casual and competitive. So make sure you go drop them a like on Facebook. That's Void Games. Cheers, Tom.
Passing the turn with an arsenal, so it looks like the Vynsett has gone first here. And I can't quite tell what attack
Yeah.
or what card was banished. Looks like a cull, actually.
I mean, this can't be bad for Vynsett getting some rune chants out there. Colm Banish and an Arsenal right off the bat. But oh, we are going to see a CNC. So that Arsenal have to figure out if it is worth protecting. Because the CNC might be the only thing we see from the Arachne player this turn.
It's pretty hard to see what kind of equipment they have going on there. I see a Crown of Providence, and I think that's a Flick Knives. Can't quite make out what the other equipment is on that side. And over on Raphael's Vynsett side, we have just the usual. There's the... Can't remember the name of it, but the Rune Blade headpiece that makes your opponent discard and draw.
The Face of Purgatory?
Face Purgatory, yep. Face Purgatory.
Face Purgatory.
The Vexing Quill hand to get a quick burst of rune chance. We have the Fiendal Spring Tunic and the... Oh, I should know the name of this as well. It's been around forever. The Rune Blade Legs that lets you play things at instant speed. And here...
It just...
Yeah. We're getting a block for 5 here, I think. It's either 4 or 5. 4, there we go. Taking 2 damage. We've already lost 2 of our rune chant producers there. Deadwood Dirge, I want to say its name is. It sacrifices an aura to create 3 more rune chants, which is super easy to do in Vynsett, considering you make a rune chant basically every turn.
Yep. That was a Deadwood Dirge, and I think you were looking for Spellbound Creepers for the feed
Right.
over there.
That is what I was looking for. Thank you.
And it looks like maybe the Vynsett player had asked for some clarity on the equipment that the Slippy is playing, because we had kind of the equipment shown and then rearranged. Oh,
So here we have our first stealth attack. This is Kiss of Death. This is a 3 cost, so that's like 0 cost, 3 damage. Gains go again through the hero ability, and when this hits a hero, they lose 1 life. In addition, the key thing about this card is that it's also a dagger, so you can flick knives this after this combat chain as well. And
I think the dagger attacks in a shred. Looks like a yellow shred.
giving -3 to the defending card, making sure that this Kiss of Death does in fact hit, triggering the 1 life loss. And of course we have another action point gained through the go again. And looks like they're just double checking life totals here. Confirming the art on shred is kind of gruesome. Oh. And here's a pain in the backside. Another go again attack. This time it is 3 go again. And when this hits, target dagger deals 1 damage to your opponent. If damage is dealt this way, the dagger has hit. Of course, that would trigger the on hit of the Hunter's Claves there, just to make sure that they get marked as well. It did get blocked. We're flick knivesing the Kiss of Death, being the dagger attack, making them lose another point of life as well as the flick knives. And are we going into a third attack this turn, going really wide? And here we have another Kiss of Death.
Another Kiss of Death, yeah.
There was a brief pause there. Makes me wonder if Mauricio kind of valued trying to get the damage through here, or if he was contemplating saving that for the next turn to do the flick knives interaction again. But it looks like he's happy with the other card being arsenaled instead. Slight little earthquake there. And moving the camera back to position.
Yeah, I mean, still earlier in the game, the Vynsett player is down to 26 life, and Mauricio is still able to arsenals, putting them in a really good position. So let's see, we've got a Maleficent Incantation played on Vynsett's side.
Just more of these rune chant producers from Rosetta that we mentioned in the past. And by in the past, I mean the opening. And here's that third Deadwood Dirge. So I'm kind of expecting a huge turn here from Maurizio. Has a whole bunch of things to play out. Here we have Widespread Annihilation. One of the original Vynsett cards, part of that Majestic Cycle. This one has Rune Gate, which makes it free if you have enough rune chants, in this case 4. When the combat chain closes, each hero who lost life this turn banishes a card from their hand. So it's a great source of disruption here, as well as being a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, this is a ton of damage by itself with a base attack of 6, but with the rune chance as well, this is a Shelter from the Storm. I really need to pick up that card.
Yeah, the card's pretty important. The rune chance guaranteeing almost that damage or card's going to be taken out, because of course if any of those rune chants hit, that call becomes live, and Maurizio would have lost the ability to arsenal that last card in hand anyway. But this is kind of the thing that Vynsett needs to do in this matchup. Like, she's going to take damage at the start of the game, and arguably in the middle, and also probably at the end. But she kind of needs to take the damage to kind of set up these big attacks and then start this train of attacks, I guess. Like, keep on coming in these big attacks, lots of rune chants, disruption on most of the attacks she plays. Yeah.
Is the Slippy player running any null rune? Any AB Arcane Prevention.
Yeah, so they have a chest
I can't
piece,
see what
which I can't see what it is,
that
but they did
is.
pitch 2 blue cards previously in the prior turn to prevent the 5 rune chance. So I assume that's the Assassin Arcane Barrier suite that they got recently. Yeah, and here we have the Cull. Played from the Banner Zone.
Oh, it must be the widow backs, right?
Yeah.
It was the widow suite.
Yeah. So Cull being played here, both players banish a card, which works really well with Funeral Moon because you can play this from Banner Zone if you've lost life this turn. And creates a rune chant, getting up to 3, and looks like we're just arsenaling a card. Not very offensive that turn there. Needing to set up again for another big turn. Left.
Yeah, I think that might be exactly what the Vynsett player is doing here. But I mean, at 23 life with your opponent still at 38, it's a heavy life lead. I mean, Vynsett, I think, could definitely close this gap with turn setups. But as we've seen, the Slippy can have very powerful wide turns as well. They can be hard to deal with. Speaking of, here is a
Bonds of Agony.
Bonds of Agony. I thought that was a prognosis, but
The old prognosis.
with a Razor's Edge on top.
Bonds of Agony, I think, is really interesting in this deck. More so than, like, you know, and other decks, like, I guess first and foremost, like, the amount of reactions available to Slippy aren't as much as new. But it does naturally have Go Again. So you don't need to worry about giving it Go Again in the first place, but also you can, like, bluff, I guess, better, because, you know, because it's harder to trigger it, your opponent may or may not be incentivized to block it, or if they do. And if they do end up blocking it, you can just move on to the next attack pretty easily. In this case, we get an Infiltrate, which banishes the top of the deck, and you can play it until the end of your next turn.
I do believe that is a persuasive prognosis. That was the first card that went down.
Oh, that wasn't actually Bonds of Agony?
No, I don't think so.
See, I was just looking at the last played area. Also, I was really surprised to not see the card get passed over until I remembered that they're in different areas, different places. Okay, so here we have Sonata Galaxia. This costs 1 less to pay for each rune enchant you control, which currently is 4. So it becomes costing XX. Search your deck for a Runeblade card with cost extra less, put into the arena, then shuffle. An aura, rather. So we're getting another Malefic another Malefic Incantation, just to make sure we get more rune chants going. And of course that action had Go Again because X equaled 2. And we have Machinations of Domination giving Overpower and Go Again. And here we have the Deathly Whale. Another Rune Gate attack. You shouldn't be able to play 6 powers for free. It's a ridiculously powerful ability here. When this combat chain closes, create rune chant tokens equal to the number of heroes who lost life this turn. So Raphael, I think, has not lost life this turn because they haven't played a shadow action. But this is 4 rune chants and then 6 damage. 4 rune chants being taken. I was gonna say, last time that Raphael attacked, Maurizio was more than happy to kind of block with the entire hand and shut down the whole operation. But this time he's taking some damage. I think he's gonna try to swing back, take advantage of this life total lead. No.
Yeah, I mean, you have such a high lead, and the Deathly Whale is just one more rune chant on the back end, which at this point, Vynsett's making so many rune chants. I mean, what's one more? That's my logic, and maybe that's why I'm not a great Flesh and Blood player, but Yeah, I would have taken it too.
Mhm.
But you already
Oh, and there's that one rune chant coming to play
Okay.
immediately, playing the Widespread Ruin. I think like the important thing there is that it was going to be impossible to stop all of that damage, realistically, because it had overpower unless you had the reaction. You wouldn't be able to block it out anyway, so
Yeah.
you might as well just take all of it.
And I think that Vynsett is much scarier on hits than just one rune chant as well.
Yeah.
So it's maybe not the worst case scenario for the Slippy player, Mauricio.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I think Widespread Ruin is much more of a disruptive on hit, right? This one is when the combat chain closes. Each hero who has lost life this turn banishes the top card of their deck.
And of course, it's a little bit different than a non-hit. Because
Right.
it's like each hero's lost life this turn, and you've already taken the damage from the previous attack. Like, there's not much you can do about it. Knowing that there was going out on that attack as well, like Maurizio probably realized that he was going to take the damage anyway.
Yeah. That was like a widespread annihilation. I think that would have been even more devastating. But wasn't too bad. Vynsett did a really good job closing the life leads here, but Mauricio was able to save a 5 card hand because of the arsenal as well. So let's see what happens. Coming in with the Hunter's Clave, seems like Vynsett just gonna take it, mark themselves, and we'll have the Orb Weaver and another Persuasive Prognosis coming in. See, that is not a Bonds of Agony.
Yeah.
She's got the blue hair and the wing.
Yeah. Okay, so since we don't have it up, could you tell the viewers what Persuasive Prognosis is?
The readers. Persuasive Prognosis comes in for 1. It is a stealth attack, so when this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck, then look at their hand and banish a card with the same color as the banished card. Whenever this banishes an action card, gain 1 life. So it's not quite as scary as Bonds of Agony. But this is still a card from hand, top of the deck, and life gain, potentially.
Bit of hand disruption.
And we'll have it. A Face Purgatory. That is such a scary little hat.
It's the spookiest hat.
Yeah, and when used in the correct spot, absolutely devastating.
And I think this is one of those correct spots, right? Like, we took the last card out of Mauricio's hand there, just completely shutting down the turn. And you get to replace the card you draw as well. So there's a little bit of card filter. The downside of Face Purgatory obviously being that you have to use it very specifically. Like, it's only available to you when you can actually trigger the effect. Of course, you can just block with it for 2. That is also a legal and allowable option.
We're going to have the Cole played from Banished Zone, I believe.
So the Cull was banished at the start of the turn, and we're doing the old Cull Funeral Moon line once again. This indicates to me that Raphael probably doesn't have attack this turn, and there we go. No attack. Just a tiny bit of disruption to stem the bleeding a little bit from this upcoming attack. Stem a future attack? I don't know.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Double Trouble being played. And it looks like we're just going to immediately see that blocked.
Yeah. I see the Double Trouble and I think of Team Rocket from Pokemon. Am I allowed to mention other franchises here? Oops.
No free ads.
Yeah. Unless you're one of our sponsors.
But I know. Unless you're one of our sponsors. Check out those sponsors, everyone. We're so good at this.
So good. But yeah, so we're considering maybe what the next attack is. Oh, we're getting a reaction here. This is
Well, it is
Pick Up
a
the Mantle.
double trouble.
Basically, this switches your stealth card, gives it +3 if attacking a marked hero, which conveniently Raphael is. And the bonus, attack bonus does switch, or rather does go to the switched card. But maybe we're just using it as a +3. We are just using a +3.
Just the nick on top of that.
So this increases the base power of the card. So it's now coming in for huge with go again.
And I believe double the trouble on hit. Well, he gets a +2 from itself, and then banishes the top 2 of the opponent's deck, I believe.
Which kind of plays into a fatigue game a bit in this scenario. I don't know if that's the game plan here, to necessarily try to get them to fatigue. Slippy does kind of have this offensive output ability here, so... we are getting a defense reaction, though. There's a reduced rune chant, an Arcane Rising Classic, a 1-cost 4 that's secretly a 0-cost 4, and then we have the Haunting Rendition discard to create another rune chant token. What's kind of funny here is when you banish these cards from the Vynsett, you're kind of potentially giving them the ability to play more cards.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's possible that not every card has Rune Gate in their deck. So there's a non-zero chance you give them access to more cards, but of course that is increasing their blood debt as well, so not necessarily a downside. It looks like we've got 2 blood debt cards. Sounds like your cat wasn't a fan. Maybe your cat's a
No, my
Vynsett.
cat did not like that play. I almost said, like, who doesn't like reducing the rune chance, but I don't think my cat
No.
does, so...
And here
We have a Leave No Witness.
just the perfect kind of chain ender for this deck. It's a 0-cost 4 with a non-hit that banishes up to 1 card in their arsenal, and I think this is the first one we've seen, which means that now the codices over on Mauricio's side are now live, potentially. And there we have the defense for 4, wanting to keep that arsenal. Looks like we already have plays anyway, so... just a little note for our viewers there.
Yeah.
From our editor.
It looks like Mauricio's life was changed to 24 here, but we're not sure why.
Oh, they might have forgotten the life gain trigger on the persuasive prognosis.
Persuasive prognosis. Last turn?
Yeah, from the previous turn.
I think it hit.
I remember something getting banished,
Sleep.
surely. But here we are. Another Deathly Whale. 6 damage. 2 rune chants. And then, of course, getting rune chants if life was lost for each player. And I believe Raphael took 1 to his own ability. Just to really make sure this hits, and we're triggering both halves. Or are they both players losing life this turn? And Raphael just signaling that he's got 2 rune chants and the waiting to come up after this.
So Mauricio is going to block. We'll see the Funeral Moon come down.
Just don't want to take any unnecessary damage here. It's a very delicate dance with this deck, with how much damage you're taking versus giving. And, you know, while Blood Debt is a super powerful mechanic that lets you have access to more cards than one should, it does come at a cost. That demon is hungry and wants blood.
There is the third red Kiss of Death that we've seen this game. Again, just a stealth attack coming in for 3. When this hits a hero, they lose a life. Blocked and followed by an infiltrate.
Just another 0 cost 3. This one, of course, doesn't have go again. And we are, once again, banishing the top card of the deck, seeing if we can potentially play some cards. There we get that cute Flick Knives interaction. Just deal 2 instead of 1 with that Flick Knives activation. Bringing Raphael down to 14. This game's been close.
This game has been close. I was just thinking that. We saw Raphael like really claw their way back into this game and close some life totals. Not that they were ever in jeopardy of dying at this point, but really close a very large life total gap. And Mauricio is actually, you know, I been going fairly wide, but I don't think any of Slippy's turns have been extremely wide or scary so far. Just like very consistent turns from both players.
You know, once you're kind of forced to block as like the Arachne player, like your damage output becomes lessened by quite a bit. Like if you're needing to defend with your reactions, whatever, or defend with your attacks, like your damage comes from the fact you can kind of stack up damage across 2 attacks. But we are getting 2 of the rune chants prevented of the 5 that were there. 3 of the rune chants prevented of the 5 that were there. Didn't want to speak too soon. But the 2 of the damage is hitting, so this Widespread Annihilation will be taking a card from Mauricio if he was to have one, but he doesn't. He's blocking with 2 cards here. Just resetting the board for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, Mauricio was, I'm going to lose a card anyway. I'm not going to have much of it. This is just better at this point in the game to preserve a little life than going in. Than taking a bunch just to arsenal 1 card. Which I think makes sense.
I mean, he could have also taken a lot if he really wanted to throw that hand.
A lot,
he could have taken all of that damage and banished 1 card, but
yeah.
no, he figured it wasn't worth it. That hand wasn't worth taking 8 damage for.
I mean, was that 8 damage or 11 damage total? Yeah.
Phantom Wraith. Just coming in. Raphael has 3 cards in hand still. Perhaps the defense reactions. I'm assuming he didn't draw any auras. Then he wants to play this turn, but, you know, this is still 9 damage. Just a 1 card 9.
Yeah, 9 damage.
These are some absurd numbers.
I mean, like I said, I always underestimate Vynsett. Like, I really do think she has some crazy damage output and some really powerful on hits and just like triggers in general.
Yeah, like you do have to set up some off turns to kind of set these turns up, but once you get going, like, you know, I refer to it as like this train sort of thing, and like part of it is because it keeps on going, and the other part is because it hits so hard.
Yeah, it's kind of fun like that. I mean, as a warrior player, I think a lot of the times warriors kind of feel like a snowball effect. Like once you let them get out of hand, it just kind of like grows and grows and grows on top of itself. And Vynsett kind of seems the same way. An Art of Desire body.
A great card to have here. It banishes the top of the deck if it hits, and then if it banishes a red card, which is very likely in this Vynsett deck, a lot of reds, you draw a card and gain 1 life. So Raphael wanted none of that smoke, none of that action. Happy to block it for 3. So you have no reactions. Just come at me with another attack here. And here we have Infect. 3 damage, creating a Bloodrot Pox.
And you have to wonder if there is an attack reaction in this hand to push through that Blood Rot Pox on hit. Because Mauricio is holding a card. I think just one card, not two.
Just one, yeah. And we're getting the Haunting Rendition once again being discarded for the effect. Happy to take the 1 damage if it means that he gets the Rune Shot. I'm assuming he's going to have like a Rune Gate 3 to play this turn. Because, you know, he had the option to block out this and not get the Blood Rot Pox. And here we have a custom token of some description. And also a regular token. But it's important for both players to note that there is a Blood Rot Pox on Raphael's side. There we go. There's the 3rd Rune Shot. Still got a couple cards in hand. Maybe that card is like the blue for the Blood Rot. And here we have the Deathly Wail.
Again.
I feel like I've seen this card before. Once or twice.
It's definitely having a little bit of deja vu right now.
I just wish there was like a whale on the art. As opposed to like screaming, but like as in like a hello.
An animal? Yeah. Is that
it was like
I like that is the way you describe it, a whale rather than like
it got the point across.
The big
you know?
fish. Yeah. This is very Finding Nemo of
exactly,
you.
Thank you. It's just so hard to stop all this damage if you want to keep a hand. And there is a Succumb to Temptation. Arcane damage was dealt, meaning that this is able to be played as an instant. So when this attack hits, which I believe it is, or has, it is, the Runeblade player gets to look at their opponent's hand, and choose a card to discard. This is an absolutely ridiculous card here. You get to see exactly what your opponent's turn is going to look like without the best card in their hand. Meaning you know how to defend against it perfectly. And also you get an action point here as well. You know, there's consideration here that you might want to swing with the flail. There we go.
Oh, and there you go. Nothing. Raphael said nothing to consider. We're swinging with the flail.
I was going to say... Oh, sorry, excuse me. I was going to say the consideration is that if you make your opponent's hand really bad, they're just kind of happy to block out this flail. Happy is a weird word to use there, but yeah, they're content to block out the flail if their hand is, like, not great. But maybe Raphael's like, your hand is still playable, let's try to make it less so. And there we go, there's one card blocked, out of nowhere.
A little bit off topic, but looking at the Succumb to Temptation art, I just have to wonder when we're finally going to get a vampire horror set.
The next...
It's very vampy.
The next Demonastery visit, maybe. Monarch Part 3. I guess the art from like Life for Our Life is also pretty vampire-y. Also fits like mechanically, or thematically rather.
And the Goblet, I think Goblet of the Blood Run Dry.
Oh yes.
It's also pretty vampiric-y. Succumb, I've never really looked at that art until now, though. I think that is the most vampiric-y. All right, we've got another Art of Desire body coming down for 3.
Isn't there a Warrior Vampire card? Like Out for Blood or something? Is that what it's called? It's like a reaction.
Oh, yeah. Out for Blood is pretty vampiric-y. I don't... Ow! Why? My cat just bit my face.
I can't see it right now, but I wish I did.
I've never really thought of it as vampire, but I guess it could be. Actually, I think he's smiling in it. He doesn't have vampire teeth.
Right.
So, he does have red glowing eyes, though.
The Art of Desire body hit, blocking only with the tuning there. Raphael kind of wants to keep cards in hand, which means that Mauricio gets access to cards in hand because he gets to draw a card and gain 1 life. Life totals 10 to 6. Is this unknown good enough to... Nope. Maybe? Oh, what's up, Sticks? No.
It's just play it to get it out of hand, I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean, it blocks 2, which is not what you want. It's a red, which is not what you want when you try and defend against a Vynsett's attack.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to just play it there. Pretty unfortunate draw for there. Raphael just, with the soul read, knowing that card draw wasn't going to be anything.
Yeah, it doesn't provide good physical damage block, and it doesn't provide good rune chant prevention either.
Oh, here we have another Machinations, and this is a widespread ruin. So at the end of the combat chain, each player's going to banish the top card of their deck if they lost life. And there's the rune chance prevented, so no arcane damage this time. But this does still have overpower. Are we going to see some equipment being thrown in front of this? Or reactions? No. Attempting to block with 2 cards. Are they going to note that this card has overpower? Oh, it's a reaction. Never mind. No, Save Legend. Oh, just a Nick's reaction.
That's just a Nick, yeah. Yeah, okay. I was like going back and forth in my mind as you were talking. Like, wait, what?
Yes.
So when it went down, yeah, just a Nick. And that other card with that scary girl on it.
Savor Bloodshed.
Savor Bloodshed.
It's not often I know what a warrior card is and Elaine doesn't.
She's freaky.
It's probably why I know it. So here we have the Flail of Agony. My forgetfulness with overpower is that reactions aren't affected by it. So that's why the Justin Executed block there, and being a block 3 was good enough to stop that. But there's the Flail of Agony, so Raphael's going to manage to stop card of his deck because he's lost a point of life. Mauricio yet to lose life here, wondering if he should give up that last card in hand or not to prevent this rune chant. Which he is. So we're creating the 1 rune chant from the Flail. Meaning that Raphael will probably have access to at least a Rune Gate 2 next turn. Top of the card's getting banished. Top of the deck is getting banished. Card's getting arsenaled. And we are drawing up. Blood Debt 1 going down to 8.
That's the scary thing about these shadows. Oh, and we have a Command and Conquer coming in for 6, threatening that arsenal, and also, just in general, threatening a large chunk of Raphael's life. Quick math. Kiki, how much life is that?
It is 3/4, also known as 75%.
Yeah. I knew you had it on you. Quick math.
It is that time of the year where my math gets tested at the end of the game. At the end of each game. This one was easy, though. And he's happy to lose 75% of his life total.
Oh, what the heck?
Leaving him with 2 remaining. That was a reduced to rune chant and arsenal, so he couldn't have played that out, because obviously it's a defense reaction. Command and Conquer doing Command and Conquer things. Raphael with 2 life and 4 cards in hand. Playing a dangerous game. Contemplating that Malefic Incantation. Forgetting that you have to banish a card first. But that's okay, you know. We're correcting that. Malefic Incantation coming in. Rune Chants for the next few turns coming up. Here we have the Shadow Puppies. Losing 1 life, going down to 1. He cannot afford to lose life at all for the remainder of this game. There's a Mordred Tide in hand. Or there's Mordred Tide being played.
I believe this is the first Mordred Tide and Shadow Puppetry we've seen of the game, too. Really powerful cards in any Runeblade deck.
I think there was a Mordred Tide blocked earlier. Because it does defend for 3. You know, a good mode on that card. But here we have the Deathly Delight coming in. Rune Chants coming in. First one being Unpreventable, making sure it hits. Which means that Raphael's going to gain at least 1 life from this interaction. 2 life. Actually, just undoing the life loss and my immediate panic of going to 1. Not going to be a problem.
going to one. I mean, immediate panic is valid when you're playing a blood dead hero.
When you hear lose his life, yeah.
Yeah, just for existing. Yeah, we have the Shelter of the Storm, with 2 prevention floating on that.
And that incantation going to create 2 more rune chants to play that widespread. I think that's a widespread rune in Banish. I'm not too sure. I'm not familiar with the arts, but surely he's going to play that blood deck card. Is this a 3-card block? Is the game over this turn? There's 2, I think. 4.
You still have 2 prevention floating on the first Shelter from the Storm. I mean, 2 Shelter from the Storm in your hand on this turn at this point in the game it's
not bad.
It's not bad. I don't think you can complain about it for sure.
There's not many times you can complain about having Shelter from the Storm in your hand at all, really.
Right.
Cards are so good. There we have the 2 life gained, and we're now contemplating this blood deck card, maybe?
It's a little bit hard to tell what that is from here.
It looks kind of pretty, which is not something I usually say about Ring Blade cards.
It does look kind of pretty.
Oh, there we go. So, maybe it's the blue widespread.
Ooh.
Because we're making sure we have enough rune chance to play it. Yeah. Nope, it's an Eloquent Eulogy.
Oh, it's an Eloquent Eulogy. See, it looks too like there's a big light beam for it to be widespread.
Yeah. It's very reminiscent of your cat ear headphones. Just a big light beam.
Oh yeah, these big light beams.
So, if Maurizio takes damage from this turn, this will create an Eloquence token, which gives Go again to a non-attack. But crucially, this is actually just 5 rune chance and 4 physical. 5 rune chance?
Yeah, this is going to be
4
hard
rune chance.
to
That's a lot
deal
of rune
with.
chance. I think 5, yeah. It is going to be hard to deal with. And Mauricio doesn't really have a hand. And I don't really know. Was the game frozen to some description? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, it's back.
We're using the Spell Void mode of the equipment. I had nothing to push there because he had to block that out as much as he could. But it does mean that he no longer has access to Arcane Barrier, which is going to be tough to deal with this.
Yeah, really scary at this point in the game. Yep. I think we've seen all 3 Shelter from the Storm as well, and there's the widespread ruin.
This one just being played the fair way, spending actual resources to play it.
Fine, I'll pay for something.
There's a cull in the Banish Zone that I don't know if it was there before or not. I don't know what's happening there, but there is that cull.
Oh, bleed as an instant.
Because of the arcane damage, just reducing the blocking capability
Right.
of Maurizio. And that looks like the game. There's a fist bump extended. Yeah, I think that is the end of the game.
I believe that's the end of
They're
the
probably
game, yeah.
having post-game discussions here. There we go. Multiple fist bumps. You'd love to see it.
Oh yeah, it's that point in the game when you show your opponent just how dead they were, If they if you didn't die then, I could have killed you all of these ways.
Yeah, now unfortunately you had to block there, my friend. And or die.
Yeah. And or die.
What a really exciting game. Not one I've witnessed before.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched that matchup either. And it was quite interesting, I think. Yeah, I think even though I had no clue what to expect, it went about how I expected.
Look, we had an idea at the start, right? Where we were saying that the assassin player needs to kind of be aggressive and get that disruption. And then once we saw that kind of taper down and the Vynsett kind of was able to swing back, we saw that, what was it, like an 18 life point lead suddenly get cut down to 2 and then suddenly start getting switched. Like, the turns from the Vynsett are just so huge. Even after that first big attack where Mauricio was able to fully block it out, and then Raphael wasn't able to capitalize on that because the hand wasn't very exciting after that point. It was still kind of enough to get that tempo back and try to get back into the game from that point onwards.
Yeah, once you're forced to block, I think as the Arachne player, it just becomes really difficult. And also the Vynsett player, I also say, did a really great job of just like presenting these huge turns, but also managing where they could kind of give and take with their life total.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. So congratulations to Raphael for taking out that game. We wish both Raphael and Mauricio the best of luck in the future rounds. And until then, that was The League That Means Nothing Season 4. I'm Kiki. I'm with Elaine.
And I'm Elaine.
And we will see you for the next game. Have a good day. Bye.